Well, I'm joined now on the show by a very special guest, and it's a gentleman whose work I've been a fan of for quite a few years, without being too uncare on the time scale. And that, of course, is Mr. Claus Lessmann. Welcome to Rockposer Roulette.
Good evening, everybody in England.
It's a real pleasure to have you on the show. I say I've been a massive fan of obviously Bonfire, but obviously the work that you did before that. And it's great to see that you've got a new album out.
Yeah, we got a brand new album out. It's a live album, which we recorded in Wacken. You know, we really almost forgot about that. We got some tapes of the live recordings, and as Hans was cleaning up his office and his studio, he found the tapes, and that was a very, very lucky coincidence for us, because we just couldn't remember that there was one. And so we said, why don't we just mix it and bring it out, and that's what we did.
I mean, it has to be said that the band has just been going strongly for so many years. I mean, what is the secret behind, obviously, the success of the band?
I think it's just that we treat each other with a lot of respect, because if you are together for such a long time, you know, things might get boring, you know, and it's like an old couple, you know, in a relationship that lasts for decades. Things sometimes become too normal, and therefore we try to treat each other with a lot of respect and try to stay friends, and I think that's the recipe behind it, the whole thing.
Oh, absolutely, I totally agree with you. What brought you forward to form Bonfire after obviously the previous bands?
What's that again? I didn't get that.
After the previous bands that you were both in, what made you form Bonfire and actually call the band Bonfire?
Well, I think the only reason, because the band Bonfire is called Bonfire right now, it was our new management and the record company, because the name of the band before was Cacumen, which was a name from Latin, which means the top of a mountain, but it was so hard to express and to explain to the people, and so we said, okay, it's not the worst idea to have another name. And as somebody told us that in Portugal, that our Latin name is the shit of a cow. Said, okay, this is now it's about time to change the name. And so we were looking for some positive sounding names, and we found the word Bonfire, and there we were.
And I suppose you probably went and checked then in every language to make sure that Bonfire didn't mean something else as well.
No. I think that this was clear.
It has to be said that obviously Fireworks is probably your best known album, and certainly probably the best loved album. And obviously in the UK there is actually a magazine named after said album. I mean, for me, it's an album I probably play without doubt at least once a month still. Still absolutely adore that album.
Great, good to hear that.
But going forward, obviously you've got the new live album. Are you working on new material for sort of a brand new album after the live album?
Oh yeah, so we're right now in the middle of the songwriting, and I just doing the interview and then continuing writing a song. And well, we have about 30 or 40 songs right now, and in about a month we start sorting all the things out, you know, which will be on recorded in the studio and which will disappear somewhere.
Could you tell obviously the listeners of the show a bit more about obviously the Cry for Help single that came out last year?
This was something which had to do with the European Football Championship in the Ukraine, because they were killing so many dogs in the street. They really wanted to make the streets cleaner for the tourists when they come to their country. And we saw the pictures, you know, saw videos of it, and this is really something which is not what a human being should do. You know, that they should help the dogs or do something else with them, but not kill them. You know, and people were very, very brutal to them, and I think that was the time for us, you know, to talk to these guys from PETA And they said, "Oh yeah, we appreciate that you want to do something for the animals over there." And so we took this song, which was already released on I think a Double X album, and made lyrics and new recordings, and brought out the song, and to try to help all these people who were working and trying helping the dogs in the street.
I mean, there's a certain train of thought from some people that say that a band shouldn't get involved in sort of politics, religion, and sort of political statements such as this. But the fact that bands
I must say it's not only sex, drugs, and roll that makes our life. You know, it's life has more to offer than these cliches. You know, and so we say some people don't want to do that who are in that business. Some people like it if bands are doing this, and some people don't like it. And it's just live and let die. You know, live and let live.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, it is a good way for people to get a message out. Because let's face it, a lot of people don't probably read the press or follow the news, and the fact that they can hear a message within music, makes it a far more powerful message, I think.
It's also that Bonfire always was doing things like that. Even on our very first album, Don't Touch the Light, we had a song called SDI on it. You know,
I was about to mention that. I was going to say that. That's probably my favourite track off that album.
All right, and we were on tour with ZZ Top at that time, you know, and the first show in Stockholm when we started the European tour. They came. The police came into our dressing room with dogs, you know, and we thought they were looking for drugs or something like that. But what they were looking for were bombs. You know, the people of ZZ Top were so afraid because the Gaddafi crisis was on at that time, you know, and because of the song SDI, they thought, well, we might be, you know, German terrorists or whatever, I don't know, but they were looking for bombs, you know, and this was really, really, really strange. But we got along very, very good on the tour.
As to be said, I hold my hand up. ZZ Top is my all-time favourite band.
Oh yeah.
Seen them. I've seen them many times, and the one thing one band I haven't seen is your own band. For so many reasons. Every time you've been over, I've either been out of the country or I've been unable to get the gig, and it is one thing on my bucket list still is to get to see you guys live.
But we will be in England. We will be in England this year. We'll be playing one show in Nottingham.
I saw you playing it, and guess what? I can't make it, and I'm absolutely gutted.
You can't make it.
Because obviously you've got Snake Charmer on the bill as well, who that's a fantastic album.
Okay. But you keep it on with that old tradition, not visiting Bonfire shows, unfortunately.
It's a tradition, Klaus, I have to break. I really do. It's something I really need to sort. There's one tradition I'm going to be breaking this year when I actually finally get to see Pretty Maid. So yours is the next one I've got to tick off the list.
All right.
So
another good band, Pretty Maid.
Yes, indeed, they are. They're another personal favourite of mine. It's I always had a real leaning towards German and Scandinavian bands, probably more than the American bands, I would say.
Okay.
There's something very.
But you have some good English bands as well.
Oh, absolutely. But there's something unique about the European sound. I can't put my finger on it, but I can listen to an album without even knowing who it is. I know immediately that it's a European band.
Maybe it's our accent.
I was going to say before the singing, obviously that's probably a dead giveaway for some bands.
Well, you know, that's the way it is. At least we understand each other.
Absolutely. Regarding musical taste, what are your favourite bands? What sort of music are you into? I mean, are you into? As I generally find with most musicians, they have a very eclectic taste when it comes to music.
Actually, not really. I listen nowadays. I listen to a lot of old stuff. You know, like I'm a really, really big fan of the Beatles. And, I mean, that's where it all comes from, you know, and I love listening to them, you know, and And of course, I like stuff like Van Halen, you know, that good old melodic stuff, and but nothing special, must say.
Are there any of the new sort of bands that are coming out? Are there any particular which sort of caught your ear? Because I would say that certainly the rock scene now is probably the strongest it's been for quite a few years.
Yeah, thank God it changed a little bit again. You know, maybe people are fed up with all that computer music, you know, and going back to that handmade stuff, and that's what people like and what we like to do, you know. And when a rock band goes out and is playing live, you know, I think it's a big difference if somebody who does computer music and is on a stage, you know. All these DJs, you know, on stage. I mean, I couldn't stand it longer than 30 minutes, you know. Then I think I would leave.
That's probably longer than me.
Yes.
It's encouraging to see so many young people at gigs as well who are getting into rock music, and appreciating what to see a band live. I think there is no other experience like it.
No, it's really something different, and maybe parents are educating their kids in a different way nowadays. Maybe, you know,
or forcing them to go to the gig. Yeah.
yes, forcing them with chains, you know, and then beating them up, you know. So go in there, listen to that Guns N' Roses stuff.
Well, Claus, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. I really appreciate you taking the time. I say, appreciate it. I'm a massive fan. Loving the live album. Already looking forward to whatever you bring out because I'll buy it regardless. Being the fan that I am, and I would love to have you back on the show when the new album's out.
Thank you very much, and it was a pleasure talking to you and to all your listeners. And I wish you and your listeners all the best and Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Claus.
All right, Dan. Take care.